Hello, everyone. Welcome to our feature spotlight, focusing on using additions and reproductions in Artwork Archive to manage your multiples. I'll let everyone join. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, maybe your name, where you're from, what kind of art you make. It's always fun to see where people are joining us from all over the world. So I would love to meet you all. And I'll let everyone, take a moment, allow yourself to kind of finish up anything that you were working on prior to this. There's always those little things that you've got to finish up. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Cassidy.
So glad you could join us. Oh, I'm seeing so many people from London. Colorado Springs, amazing. Hello, Portland. Hi, Sydney. Magnolia, Texas, amazing. Laura Hunt, Fort Worth, San Luis Obispo. Oh, gosh, there's some great places here. New Zealand, amazing. New York. Hi, Anne, Lynn, Sally Ann, Henry, Sussex, UK. Thank you all so much for joining from all over. This is incredible to see.
Hi, Roxy. Nice to see you.
I'm going to share my screen. And while folks are joining, I'm going to go over a few housekeeping items. So this webinar will be recorded. Have no fear. We'll share a recording within 24 hours to all who registered, along with slides and links that we mentioned here today. And then we've also saved a few minutes at the end for a Q&A session. So ask any questions that you may have in the Q&A box. And it's different from the chat box down below. So the chat is a really great informal place where you can talk to each other, ask questions that you might want to get more insight from with other people in the audience, or if you have any technical issues and need support, send those in the chat. And then for any Q&A questions at the end, send those in the Q&A box. So those will be the questions that don't get lost in the chat, because sometimes if I'm going through and I don't see a question pop up in the chat and then it gets buried with a bunch of other notes, it can be hard to go through at the end. So send questions via the Q&A box, and those will get sent to me and to Katie for our Q&A session at the end. And then we'll try to get to everyone's questions, but if we don't get to yours, know that you can contact us using the little blue chat icon when you're on artworkarchive.com in the bottom right corner. Or you can also reach out to us directly at any time via email at team@artworkarchive.com. It will send the email to our team, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. And know that if you're using the chat when you're logged into artworkarchive.com, it will go to a human. We are really passionate about customer service. So if you've been with us long enough, you know that, and you know that you will not get a robot in response. So feel free to reach out if you think of a question after the webinar ends and you wish you would have asked and it didn't get answered. You can reach us in those different places. And then if you need access to captioning, you can click the CC show captions down below for closed captioning. And if you don't see it, it may be hiding behind the 3 dots that say more down below on your screen. And then I'm looking in the chat as people are gathering. New Jersey, Linda, Jackie, Queensland, Australia. This is so cool. Zoom is incredible. It's just so fun to see everyone logging in from everywhere. I'm also going to launch a poll that kind of asks just to get a feel for all you all with your medium choices, maybe how many hours you work on your art during the week, but that's something that you can answer. Feel free to answer. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but it's fun for us to see who's in the audience. And I think we have enough people here today, so I'm going to keep going. Oh, I'm Cassidy. I'm on the product education team here at Artwork Archive. I help train new and existing clients on how to use the platform, and I provide educational videos for our many features. I host webinars here, and I'm also an artist based in Los Angeles with experience working in and exhibiting at contemporary art galleries for a number of years. I also have my colleague Katie here, who many of you may know if you've been with us a number of years. She is the mastermind behind so much of our content and resources like guides, blog articles, product updates. She does it all. And she's also a ceramicist based in Denver and our resident additions expert. So I'm really glad that she was able to join. So thank you, Katie. She'll be answering questions as we go and as well at the end. So if you have any questions that you want to send through the chat or the Q&A, she'll be answering those throughout the webinar.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
And in case you're new or not as familiar with us, a little history about Artwork Archive. We began in 2010 as one of the first cloud-based art inventory systems after one of our founders' mother, who is an oil painter, lost years of really valuable information for her art career to a hard drive crash. And her son couldn't find a solution custom tailored for artist needs. So he and our other co-founders sought out to make one. And that's how Artwork Archive was born. And the rest is history. And now we serve artists, collectors, and art organizations in over 130 countries. And it's really our passion to manage and build the most intuitive, powerful, and reliable tool for art management. We also like to think of Artwork Archive as an extension of your studio. So I like to call it my virtual studio assistant because we're cloud-based. And this means that you can access your account on any device. So computer, tablet, iPhone, a lot of people don't know that. And in terms of security and data protection, we use the highest level of encryption, industry best practices, and enterprise level security and hosting. And we also made a conscious decision to give our users the ability to download and export their information at any time in multiple formats. So we want to give you full control of your data and peace of mind that comes with knowing that you can have a local copy of your inventory at any point. And I'll show you how to download your editions as well in this webinar. And then as a reminder, this is a feature spotlight training session. So we're going to focus on giving you an overview of our editions and reproductions feature. We'll cover how to create a limited edition set from a master work, how to generate reports for editions, how to manage and track sales of your reproductions, how to create provenance for open and limited editions, how to track exhibition history, and how to share your editions or reproductions on your public profile and what that looks like. And if this feels too advanced or you want a more general overview of the platform on Artwork Archive's main dashboard, we do host 101 Getting Started with Artwork Archive training sessions every other Wednesday, twice a month. So I guess it's twice a month, bi-weekly. I get confused with those concepts sometimes, but I highly recommend you attend one of those. And if you want the link to sign up, I actually have it here. I can send along just in case. And it's a really great way to get to know the platform. And sometimes for these feature spotlights, we'll really narrow in and focus on a specific feature. So, editions and reproductions, but maybe you wanted to learn more about collections, or maybe you wanted to learn more about the reports. Or maybe you just wanted a general, what is this account and how do I manage my dashboard? How do I look at every single different aspect? The 101 is really great for that. And it's smaller groups and we answer a lot of questions. So be on the lookout for signing up for that if that sounds interesting to you. And a reminder, yes, this will be recorded and I'll send out the recording within 24 hours as well as these slides. And if we move a little quickly today, just know you can watch the recording at your own pace and go back. So don't worry about if you are taking notes and you miss a section, you will get the recording afterwards. Oh, I am scrolling through. Okay. So I am going to stop my video for a second so that you can focus on the slides. And I hope, how's everyone doing out there? Can you hear me all right? Okay, great. Sometimes you can feel like you're speaking out to the void, so it's really fun to be able to talk to you all. Amazing. Thank you so much for that check-in. Okay, let's go over first the difference between editions, runs, and reproductions. So for us, an edition in Artwork Archive is a part of a set of original works of art intended for graphic reproduction and produced by or under the supervision of the artist who designed it. So these works are images or casts that are produced in multiples, and each work in the edition has unique qualities and can vary slightly because each one is created individually. So editions within Artwork Archive allow for, detailed record keeping, and they have all the capabilities of a piece record like you have with your original pieces in your inventory, but these can be grouped together. Reproductions, on the other hand, are considered copies of the original work. So they're not created typically in the same medium as the original artwork, and they're usually using photomechanical means. And a lot of the times they're not an original artwork itself, they're just copies to be shared. And these are generally used more for high-level tracking of bulk items that you need to record or track less information about. So examples include posters, print out of service items, pillows or garments, cards, etc. And here's a more helpful visual to kind of break down the two. So between the two, editions are considered more valuable a lot of the time because they are collected like any other artistic medium. And then reproduction prints typically have less of a value because of the lower price point or the bulk of the multiples. But the lower price point can really help you reach a new segment of art buyers, and they can be a really valuable part of your art business strategy as well if you have more of high value original pieces and you want to offer something at a lower price point. You'll want to use editions if you need to record and track more information about your editioned artwork, and you'll want to use reproductions again if you have that larger number of copies or reproduced pieces to record, and you don't need to build out a full piece record with history for each of the prints. And I'll show you more what that looks like in Artwork Archive, because sometimes the vocab of piece record and editions, etc., is a little confusing without visually seeing it, but I just want to put that in your mind here so that you can recall it when I'm showing you in the platform. You'll also want to use the editions feature if you want to include specific editions on any reports within Artwork Archive. So say you want to create an inventory report for all of the multiples that you have straight from your main dashboard. You can only do that for editions and not with runs or reproductions. In other words, editions have that full piece power, just like any other original piece in your inventory. And each one will have its own piece record page with the ability to add location history, exhibition history, provenance, and it can be added and individually show up on your public profile, whereas reproductions do not. They will stay in the grouping on the reproductions page in your internal dashboard view. And because editions here have all the functionality and power of an individual piece, each edition does count toward your total of artworks within your account. So reproductions, though, do not. So you can have as many reproductions as you need, while editions, you'll want to make sure to stay within the allotted number of pieces for the type of subscription that you have. And really, there's so much to keep track of when it comes to editions and editioned artwork. So pieces coming in and out of the studio, run sizes, prices, dimensions, collector information, documents, etc., that it can really get overwhelming really fast. And while it often seems like it might be the lowest priority in your art practice to stay organized and keep track of all these moving parts for editioned artwork, it's actually extremely important to the success of your business. So with all of that information, I'm going to jump in and show you what this looks like in Artwork Archive. I'm going to share my new screen. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see this new screen. I'm logged into our Artwork Archive account. And first, I'm going to look at the runs and reproductions feature. So you'll access the runs and reproductions. This is our main pieces page, and I will click runs and reproductions over here on the left. All of the runs and reproductions that you create will show up here. And while you cannot create other types of reports that you can in Artwork Archive elsewhere, you are able to export all of your runs and reproductions right here to Excel or CSV. And you can also create an individual run report that I'll show you in a moment. So to create a new run, simply click New Run. And now because you're not creating new pieces, but instead just creating a reproduction of a piece that's already in the system, you'll need to choose the original here. So I'm going to choose average dimensionality. You can title the run whatever you want. So we suggest something that will help you decipher between other runs. So let's say you're making an art poster from this piece, or you're making, a reproduced image of it, and it's going to be the size of 16 by 20. So I'm going to title it, art poster 16 by 20. You'll then fill out all the information for the run, including, creation date, medium, maybe it's just on matte paper, or number of prints. So this is where you'll want to include how many you intend to make, as well as the total cost and sale price per print. And also, if you don't have all of this information, don't worry. The only required field at the moment is the name of the run. So this asterisk helps you understand what is required. So I'm going to make, 25, and then total cost will probably be, $250, and then, per unit, per print, I'm going to sell these for, $40. And then if you're making artist or printer proofs, you can add that number as well to differentiate between proofs and final products. So a lot of artists like to first print proofs to test the product and make sure it's what they want, and make sure it looks the right way. And also printer proofs too, to make sure there's color matching and it works. And so if you create proofs, you can also eventually, sell those as well if you want to sign them. It can be a valuable piece. I'm going to height and my width. And then you can designate if it's signed or not. And then the note section is for any information you want to include for your own needs. Like maybe this run was created for a specific show, and you want to remember that when you go back and reference this. These notes are private and for your eyes only. So you can put whatever you want. So poster made for exhibition to raise funds. So that's the notes that I'll include, and then hit create run. And this is how it will look once your run or reproduction is created. So at the top, you can toggle between works and proofs, and you can see the tombstone information like signature info, sizing, how much the entire run cost you, so you can compare with sales and calculate profit. And then here are the notes that I made and where it will show up. And then when I click on a specific run, you'll see I'm only able to track the high level information. So I'll click, details. And then when I register this as a sale, I can also decide, was it a sale? Was it a donation? Was it a gift? If it sells, I can add the contact and sales information to keep track of that for my own artwork history. What's great is you can also create invoices for reproductions and sell them through Artwork Archive. But once a reproduction is sold, here's how it will appear on the page. So I'm going to sell this. This was sold, was it sold from a location? None. I'm just going to save the sale. And then I'm going to go back to my runs and reproductions. I'm going to click into the posters we just made. And then here's how it will appear on the page in the reproduction run. So you can see that it says sold to this contact. Here were the details. And then if you need to edit it at any time, simply click on the little pencil icon on the right, and you can add more information for that individual run. So the reproductions each have their own number already. So number 1, number 2, according to how many are created, but you can also add a unique inventory number if you like. And we don't automatically generate inventory numbers for you in the system because so many of our artists and collectors have their own way of numbering. So it's really a challenge to come up with a one-size-fits-all solution. But if you need an inventory number, just know you can add that here as well. And then lastly, I'm going to click out of that. Here is where you can create that individual run report. So I'm going to generate one now to show you what it looks like. And any report that you generate will populate on the reports page. So once I generate an individual run report, and depending on how many runs you have, it may take a moment to populate. But this is the report that will be created. So this is helpful to have on hand. Maybe you've printed all of your runs and reproductions, and you want to just have this on hand with the stack. It's helpful to have for your own record keeping. Do we have any questions so far right now on runs and reproductions before I skip ahead to editions? Just want to make sure I'm capturing the questions real fast that are relevant.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions that I think a lot of people have some questions about when to use editions versus reproductions, but I think that might be covered in this next section about editions. So hold tight. And I'm also trying to get to all individually. One thing about an edition that has multiple sizes or a run that has multiple sizes, as you can see here, Cassidy has named the run 16 by 20. And if you click on the master work that it's under, those will all be nested within it. So you want to name the size, and then those will be under there. In additions, she'll show you quickly. You can edit each of those individually within the run. So say there's different sizes, but depending on how you are doing them, I do recommend putting that size right in there for something like reproductions. And she will show you later how to change the individual sizes within a run. So that's a question from Bernard, and we can go over that more during that section.
That's a great question. I'm going to create a run real fast from the same piece at a different size, just so that later on when I show you what it looks like in a piece record, you'll see how they show up. So I can do, poster, and this one will be 18 by 24. And then I'm just gonna create it. Oh, I do have to do the number. 10. So actually the number of prints is required as well. So I'm gonna do the number, and then when I go back, here are the different sizes and the different runs that I've created for this original piece. And then I'll show you in the piece record. Actually, I guess I can just show you right now. So this is the original piece record. If I go down to the right, this is where those runs records will be populated. And then also I'm going to show you editions as well. And that's where this will show up. So let's move on to editions. So editions are found right above runs and reproductions under the artwork section on Artwork Archive. And these, I'm a little bit obsessed with editions, and Katie is as well. So these have so much power, and I want to spend most of our time in this section. To create a new edition, same process. You click New Edition. And then what's great is you can create an edition set on its own or nested under an original master work, similar to how it shows up in the reproductions. So for photographers, this may look like creating an original piece record for a negative and then using it as your master piece to nest edition sets for various sized prints underneath. And then for sculptures, this is a great option too, to nest any casts made from original sculpture. Also for screen printers and all all of the artists that are working in multiples that want to nest this under an original piece. If you don't have a masterwork, you can also leave this option blank. So you do not need an original masterwork in the system to create an edition set. But I'm going to use our other piece as well, average dimensionality, so I can show you what it looks like when it shows up on the piece record. And again, you'll want to give your edition set a title. So this information is private and it's for you and your records. Your public title will be filled in below, but for this, we're creating, I'm going to do 8 by 10 inch archival digital prints. So let's say these are 8 by 10 inch. And that's, what I'm going to title it for easy reference for my own internal view. And then you'll want to decide whether it's an open or limited edition set. And then you'll enter the details on how many pieces and proofs you intend to create. So for open editions, you can add and subtract to the set as you please, and the editions will be recorded sequentially with an edition number. For open edition as well, the number of prints that can be created and sold is unlimited, which really offers artists the chance to make new prints based on demand, and it can be a more constant source of possible revenue for you. And this does differ greatly from limited editions. So limited editions have a fixed number of prints from the beginning of the run. So the number of limited editions is carefully chosen by you, the artist, before production. And traditionally, no more can be created after they're sold out. That's what makes them limited. And of course, this does make limited edition prints more valuable in the eyes of a collector because there are less of them. So this is really great, and artists are able to charge more for, limited editions typically than over open editions. And for limited editions, you will want to enter the total number in the beginning right here and to create. You can also add more later by clicking edit, although like I mentioned, it is better to keep the limited number total set in the beginning because collectors don't want to know that you've created more pieces. They want to know, I set out to make 25 prints and that is all that exists out there. And that's why you getting number 3 of 25 is really valuable. And then this will add, once I add, so let's say we're making 25 here of a limited edition. This will add the total number to the print edition. And then in the title of each edition, it'll show up, 1 out of 50, 2 out of 50, etc. Again, like reproductions, you can also add proofs to these edition sets. So proofs are those extra prints pulled by the artist to proof the edition for quality. Printmakers use the feature to add artist and printer proofs outside of the actual number count of this set, and they'll function as a unique artwork within the edition set and count as a piece, but they will not be included in your total edition number. And once you've decided on the amount under here, so I'm going to make, 2 proofs. You can also add a unique edition default image. So let's say that you don't want to use this original work, you want to use a framed image. You can add that here as well. I'm going to use this image just to upload, although it's not the original piece, but I just want to give you an example. So once you've decided on the amount that you're creating, include any relevant information for your editions, like a description that will show up publicly or notes that will show up privately. And these are open spaces as well, so you can add as much information as you'd like. A lot of times artists add in the inspiration behind the description, or they add in, notes as well, like this limited edition set was printed here, it's for this exhibition, et cetera, et cetera. And what's great, like I said, down here, you can add the name of pieces, the name for the pieces in the edition for each individual edition. So, if you have different information that you want to add to each individual edition, you can do that. But what's helpful is I can name this piece, average dimensionality prints, and this will show up publicly. And then I can populate this as well if I don't want to type all of this information in with what's included on the masterpiece data. Just make sure that you change, if it's, you're making an addition from a painting, make sure you change the medium to what is the addition information. But this is handy though, if you're making an addition set based on a ceramic cast, or you're making it on a based off a sculpture, and you're just wanting all of these to be populated with the same information. Also, you'll want to change the price, because possibly if you're making a print of a painting, it's not going to be the same price. So you can change that here, change the dimensions. This one was 8 by 10. I think that's what we decided. Width will be 8. Creation date, etc. I'm going to save this edition so that you know what it looks like when it's created. And this is obviously not the original piece it was created off of, so sorry if that's confusing. I just wanted to show you, sometimes if an edition is framed already, all of the additions will look like this in the set. So once you're finished with all of that, you can see the additions are created and each one has its own piece record. You can also create reports within each edition set. So I can create inventory report with all my additions and proofs. I can create a portfolio page with all my additions and proofs. I can also create a catalog page with all of these. So if you're looking to create a portfolio and send along, this is really great for photographers, for ceramicists, sculptors, sculpturists, sculptors. Goodness, my vocabulary today. Apologies. But let me show you actually with an edition that was made using this example. So I wanted to show you that I have added different images. So maybe each edition is framed or it's printed a little bit differently. Because they can each be unique, this is what you're able to do. So this was the original edition set image. This is a print on its own. Here's its own piece record. And then I'm going to go back to the set and show you, because this one was framed possibly, with a black frame, I changed the image. So let me go back actually. Sorry, sometimes I can click a little quickly and I want to make sure that you're really understanding where I am. So I'm in the edition set, I'm going down, I can click edit here and I can change the images. So I can add different images. If this one specific edition was framed, if it has, damage, or if it's got a little bit of nuance, I can change the image. Maybe it was in a show. So I want to show that this specific edition was in a show. This is the installation shot. Maybe I have a video of when I pulled this specific print. So I can include a video link. So essentially all of this is a piece record like an original piece. So I'm going to update it. And that's what we were talking about earlier with each edition having its own additional piece record. Hopefully that was clear for you all, because sometimes it can be a little confusing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say piece record, on your main artwork page, all of your original artworks have their own piece record. So if I click on this piece, for example, or let me go to average dimensionality. If I go to this piece record, this is the original painting and this is its piece record. So this is the story of this original artwork. I have its current location, its location history, its exhibition history, installation shots. And then because we just created additions and reproductions off of this original artwork, this is where those show up down in its piece record. I can click into those sets and it'll take me to the edition page with the edition set. I'm going to go back to the editions page. Here are some more examples of how you can individually edit an edition set. So let's say I've created this set of bowls. Each of them are the same, but they have unique qualities and a unique color. I can go in within the set, retitle it, but they're all grouped together still because they are from the same set. I also want to point out that on the main pieces page, you're able to filter your editions. So by clicking more here and then additions, you can choose from the options below. So you can show only your editions, you can hide your editions, or you can filter to show a specific set. So if I want to show only my editions, I'll click apply, and then I'm able to only see editioned artwork. Another thing that I want to point out, I'm going to clear my filters, is that when I'm in list view, I'm able to see a multiple here that helps decipher between editions versus original artwork as well. So that's just a visual cue that I really like using. And then lastly, I want to show how editions and reproductions will appear when you add them to your public profile. So because editions have their own piece records, they'll show up like an original piece. So I'm going to show my profile here. I'm going to view profile. So I've already gone in and selected to just show these edition sets. But here is how they will show up. So this is the set that we created with this image. If I hover over, this will show limited edition, and there are 7 editions. When I click into them, I will see the different editions available. So this is really great if you want to sell each individual edition and you want people to be able to choose. So if I click, ooh, I really want this one with the black frame, I can then, if I've allowed them via my public settings on my public profile, I can inquire about this piece, I can purchase it, and I can share it if I just want to sing the praises of this artist. Now, going back to portfolio to show you how reproductions show up. So this is the original piece record that we made the reproductions based off of. So reproductions don't show up like editions on their own. They will only be indicated, let me see, down here, and it'll just say that reproductions are available. So that's a main differentiator between reproductions and editions when showing on your public profile. So if you're looking for, I want to be able to sell my individual editions on their own. I want people to be able to choose them on my public profile. I would go with editions. If you don't really care too much about that and you just want to show that you have reproductions available, I would go with reproductions. And how you can make sure to, I'm going to go back to my internal dashboard view here. I clicked my profile and I can go to public settings to show when runs and reproductions are available. So I can either enable that or not, and that information will show up like I showed you. I can also decide which editions I want to show. So I'm going to filter and show all my editions. Let's say I only want to show a couple. I don't want to show all of the editions available. So I can choose here to not show every single one in this set, or maybe I don't want to show this one piece. That will automatically update. I'll go to my view profile to see, and now only these are available. So that was a lot of information that I just walked through, but I really hope that you feel more comfortable deciphering between when to use editions, when to use reproductions. And of course, if you want to keep learning, we have so many resources available to you in the form of our Learning Center. So here you can find help docs, video tutorials, webinars. I'll click into the help doc. So if you're looking for a step-by-step guide on editions, here are so many articles for those specific cases. So if you, want to remember what are the difference between editions and reproductions, we have these help docs available to you at all times from within your Artwork Archive account. We also have a video tutorial showing you how to create an edition as well. So if you forgot the steps and you want a refresher, you can also go to the help docs as well and type in additions. And you can see this video tutorial on how to create additions as well. So it can be confusing, but once you get the hang of it, it's really fun. And then we also have our blog, which is an incredible place for great articles that have, best practices, other use cases, etc. So if you're looking to learn more there as well, I highly recommend looking on our blog. And then, of course, you can sign up for our newsletter as well, and I'll send that link in the chat. But if you missed out on any of our past Feature Spotlight webinars too, you can also sign up for those on the webinars page. So if you want to look at, maybe you wanted to make a report on your edition and you're not really sure which report is the right one that you want, you can do that as well you can sign up for or view a past webinar on reports in our webinars page. Okay. With that being said, I want to open it up to questions. So feel free to ask away. Katie, do we have so many questions?
We have a number of questions, but there are a few that are overlapping. So I want to go over, I think you briefly touched upon it, but we're getting a lot of questions about if you can change within an edition set, if you can change the price or size within a set. So maybe you can go over that one more time and show how to quickly edit each of those, and you can change the price as it becomes more expensive, as it becomes more limited, or again, the images or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I just clicked into this edition set. Let's say that all of these have sold. There is only one left, and this frame is so amazing that we just need to up the price. I can go into edit. I can go down here and I can up that price and change it. I can also, give a description. I can give myself notes of why the price change. Also, I can change the status. So maybe it's on loan, maybe it's, in progress, or etc. You can also change, the sizing. So maybe there's something slightly different. You can do whatever you want within an edition set in the edition page, because like I said, this is essentially an original work that has its own piece record. So I'm going to update it. And then as you can see, the price is different. If I change the size, that would be different. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks. And then we have a few questions about the masterwork and how to define the masterwork. And then I wanted to go through and show how you would do that. And then if you can also show how to populate the data from the initial masterwork, and then kind of show that default data as well. So you can both have when you create the initial print, you can use a masterwork, which would be defined as, say you have a painting and you're using that painting to pull prints, or you are making bronze castings and you have a ceramic bust that you are then casting. The bust would be the masterwork, and then all of the castings would be your original editions of that work. So you can tie those two together, and Cassidy will show you right now when you're creating the piece what that would look like. So if you can go to create new edition.
So this is where you're pulling from the masterwork. So this would be a piece already uploaded in the system. So I'm going to make it, from this piece, and then I will name the edition. Katie, what would be a good name for, let's say this is a ceramic piece?
So this is interesting because this name here is private to you. So I would name it in a naming convention that would tell you what that is about. So I would say, if it's a ceramic one, like porcelain cast, and then maybe give it a date or something so that you have that, or a size there. That won't be public in any of your reports or on your public profile. So that would just tell you what's happening for your records. And then if you scroll down to default data on the new pieces added for this section, this is what's fun. You can click populate masterpiece data right here. And that will add all of the original dimensions so that you don't have to enter that data and do double the work, but you can also change it. So if you can enter that manually if it's a different size.
Yeah, that's a great feature. And then if I create the pieces, so I'm just going to make 3 right now. Obviously, this is not the porcelain cast, but as you can see, all of that masterpiece data is populated with each edition. So it'll all have the same information. And then if I need to go in and change it because it's different, I can go in and just click edit the unique ones.
And then someone is asking about changing the price of reproductions over time. And you would do this in the same way. You do have to do it individually. So I would either create them in bulk if you have a lot and do a different run for each number. But if you want them within the same one, you can go in and click that little pencil edit button here and change that price as it goes up.
And it'll just reflect there. And then here's also how you can add new reproductions as well. So maybe you need to add 5 more. You will click add. You could decipher if they're proofs or not, or designate if they're proofs or not, and then it'll just add to the total number. Okay, I'm reading through some more of these.
And then we're still getting a lot of questions about when to use each one. And, you know, it really depends, I would say, which is not a great answer for you, but I would depend on how much information you would like to track about it. So if you are doing something like print on demand, I do recommend runs and reproductions. If it's just high level information where you want to track that you printed it and you tracked that it's sold and you want to track the sizes and when that happened, that way, if it's a big run of 1,000, you're not eating up that space in your view or on your piece count. But if you are wanting to, can you show one more time the full edition
Yes.
record? So there's just a lot more that you can do with an edition. And a lot of people are asking about different types of reports and if you can include it on your public profile and sell it on your public profile. And this is what you can do through editions and not reproductions. So if you're looking to create a piece history or the location history, send an invoice, have that available. So on the invoice, that's where you would, I see that question about sales. So you could then create an invoice for this work once it's sold, and you would then be able to have that go through PayPal. At this time, we're looking at integrating with more sales options, but that would go directly in there. Whereas reproductions aren't available on your public profile that way, and you can't include them on many reports. So things like labels, QR codes, including them on inventory reports, that would be through editions. So if you want to keep the track of that information, highly recommend editions for that.
Yeah, that actually brings up something that I want to talk about with editions that I love. One of my favorite things about editions is creating QR code labels for them. So I was just going through the flow of, the invoice and the sale of a piece. So editions will show up just like original pieceworks. But if I go to artwork and I create a new report and I want to create QR code labels, this is so good for editions. So say you've, you have a couple different editions around the studio and you're trying to keep track of all of the information about each specific one, you can create QR code labels for your own internal use. So I love using the internal links for inventory purposes. So I will create labels that will then link to my internal private piece page. So if I'll show you how to create these actually. There are 3 different types of QR codes. There's internal, public page links, and then custom links. The internal links will, if you scan the QR code, it will take you to your internal Artwork Archive account to the piece record. So anyone who scans this and they don't have access to your Artwork Archive account will not be directed to the piece record. They'll just get a screen that's like, log into your account, and they'll say, oh, I don't have one. If you're wanting for someone to scan the code and get taken to the piece on your public profile to where they can learn more information about the work and they want to purchase the work. So this is really great for art shows, for if you're wanting to create artwork labels, you would use the public page links. And then if you don't have a public profile and you don't want to, or you don't have, the piece available with a page on the public profile, you want to direct them instead to your artist website, or you want to instead direct them to a video or the gallery where the piece is located, you would use custom link, and you would include any domain, that you'd want to direct, where if they scan the QR code, it will take them to this site. So hopefully that's helpful, but I'll show you real fast, because you can include additions on reports and just like an original piece. I'm going to filter here to all additions. And I'm going to create, maybe I just need it. Wow, I really created a lot of those. Maybe I just need to create labels for, these 3. I will add these pieces. I will generate these labels. And then I'll show you what those look like. But this is really handy for keeping track of your additions in the studio. This is what that will look like. And then I don't have the other information populated, but if I did, it would show up here. Okay, I'll look through some more questions.
Yeah, I'd like to go over proofs one more time if you haven't. We were getting some questions about proofs.
Okay.
So you can add any number of proofs and call them a number of things. So if you have, everyone has a different kind of structure for how they do their proofs. So you can add any number of proofs, and those are outside of the total count for that set. So you can name that here and that won't show up. So you can name that then artist proof and things like that. So you can have a number here. Well, that might be the actual, or name, tag it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I can tag this.
Or put it in the note that it's a certain type of proof, but I think, Ken, you're asking that. I'm going to go back to the team and see if they can be in sets, or maybe we can just have the naming convention turned off with the proof 1, 2, and they can be what you name them. So I'll come back and I'll try and reach out to you directly about that after this.
I'm reading through. Okay. Sorry, we're reading through. These are really great questions. This is my first time hearing about the service. For keeping a storefront performance. So I just want to be clear too. We've got a couple questions about print on demand. Artwork Archive is an inventory management system, online, cloud-based, that helps you manage and grow your art career. So this is for keeping track of your inventory, of managing sales and locations and contacts. This is really supposed to be a digital platform for you to manage your art career. We are not a print on demand service, and we do not fulfill shipping, or, there are a lot of really great print on demand services, but we are not one of them. But we do have, if you go on our blog, you can read some really great articles about print on demand if you're more interested in using a service like that. Okay. That's a great question, Jay. If you have, so Jay, you're essentially asking if you have 50 prints and gallery buys 30, is there a way to log that sale other than 1 by 1? Yes, on invoices, you can add multiple additions to an invoice. So if I come here to income and I go to new report, no, wait, I go to, yes, invoices, sale, new invoice. You do have to have a contact already in the system. And my spelling, Antoinette, is my favorite contact. So if I go here, I can add either, if I've already marked it as sold, I can add an existing sale, I can add a new sale, and I can add, expenses or another invoice item, but I can type in, so tulip, this is where I can add all of those additions, and I can add multiple. So this tulip was not marked sale as sold already, so I'll need to create that new sale. You can designate how much you sold it for and just save it, and it'll be added to that invoice. I can also add as many as I want. Create new sale, save sale. Hopefully that clears that up for you. Any more questions, Katie, that you feel like are grouped together or jumping out?
I just want to say there's a lot of individual questions. So if you have questions about how your individual additions or reproduction should be structured, we're happy to help. And we can kind of advise you on the chat because everyone does them in a little bit of a different, unique way. We are getting questions about how to do multiple additions. Sorry, my dog. Do multiple additions of different sizes and how to group those. So if you can show the original record, and I would recommend creating a new edition for each size and naming that, and then they will all show up under that original image.
So this is the original piece record. And then if I've created editions of various sizes, all of those will be populated here. So if I created another edition set that was 11 by 14 or, 16 by 20, it would just, the set would populate under here, just like this did in the runs and reproductions. And then a really last second question, can you make reproductions or editions of an original piece if the original work has been sold? That's really a case by case. It depends on if you have the rights to the image or if the collector also purchased those. And then if you, have, it depends on what kind of piece. So that is specific to you. Is there a way to link a sale on my website to my inventory on Artwork Archive? That's a great question, Michael, and I have resources for you. So linking a sale on your website to your inventory on Archive, you would have to go in, if it's not sold through Artwork Archive, you would have to go in and manually register the sale. So you can input all of that information here. And then you can register and you can keep track of it via Artwork Archive so that it'll show up on your income and your sales reports. Okay, there are so many great questions, and unfortunately we can't get to all of them, but know that I'm going to share this screen again for all of our resources. We have our help docs, our newsletter, our blog. You can also watch past webinars. And then if there are more questions that you want to reach out to our team about, you can email us at team@artworkarchive.com. You can also try out a free 14-day trial if you've never tried Artwork Archive and you don't know, if this is the right platform for you, or maybe you're interested to learn more about editions and how that might work to help with your art practice. Try out an account for 14 days, get a feel. We want it to be the best fit for you. So if you have any questions throughout that process too, you can always reach us at the little chat icon in the bottom right of your Artwork Archive dashboard. So that'll pop up at the bottom right. You can ask us a question there. It'll go to our team. We love talking to you guys. And also if you have any feedback or, helpful features or suggestions that you see as you're working through editions and reproductions, we love to hear from you. So reach out with those as well. Thank you so much, Katie, for joining me as well and answering questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining and taking time out of your Wednesday. We really appreciate it, and we hope you have a really great rest of your day.
Thank you. Yeah, we look forward to talking to you more. Please reach out if you have any specific questions about your editions. Happy to help.
Yes. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, guys.